Members of the chapter, I believe that I owe you an apology. What do I need to apologize to you about? Well, I straight up lied to you and said that I would not review any of the Horus Heresy action figures minus the Primarchs. I said that the armors were plain, they were dull, they were not intriguing or interesting, but oh, I was proven wrong. Obviously, with the Legion Praetors, those ones are a spicy meatball. So I was tempted by the wiles of Slanesh and heard the siren's call, and I could not resist. So I suppose my deception is your gain? So in this one, we are going to be taking a look at the Space Wolves Legion Praetor, and without further ado, let's jump right on in. Initial inspection shows that the gray of the armor matches the gray of Leman Russ, rather than the more modern 40k Space Wolves gray, and this is obviously Leman Russ and his glorious gray color, and Ragnar Blackmane with the more modern 40k Space Wolves gray. The general look is obviously very Norse and Viking-like, which is nice because there is a continuity across 10,000 years. I love how the modern Space Wolves derive this look from the past. There's a certain spice, a certain panache about this Mark III Legion Praetor armor that really jumps out and stands proud. By looking at the overall aesthetic of this armor, you get the feeling that we are in the ripe golden age of the Imperium. So with the head and helmet area, the bare head looks like a quintessential Space Wolf with the stern furrowed face. There is some shading in the deeper recesses that accentuate the weathered wrinkles on his face. I love this two-tone mustache color right here that really draws attention to the lower part of the face. The beard with the locks can be its own entity because it is so prominent and in your face. Like the mustache, there is a two-tone coloration and some shading within the braids. Unfortunately, due to the length of the beard, there's a slight inhibition of movement right here, but it can be overcome by tilting the head up like this so you can get 360 degrees of rotation as the head pops off. So we're going to take a very quick look at the helmet, and the top of the helmet has an icon that looks like it belongs on the prow of a Viking ship, which is really awesome. The gold and silver accents on the helmet really help bring the area to life from the dull gray armor. The metallic lenses give off a piercing red glow. Migrating to the pauldron, when you're looking at the figure, your eyes naturally gravitate to this awesome right pauldron that sports a trophy of a wolf's head. JoyToy always does a fantastic job of texturing the fur area. I love how the wolf is gripping the armor with his razor sharp canine teeth. One critique is that this little piece of plastic that connects the pauldron to the shoulder seems a bit too anemic to support the weight of the pauldron. The left side displays a very feral looking Space Wolves chapter symbol. This one looks a lot more ferocious as well, and more ornate looking than the 40k one, and this is the side-by-side comparison of the 30k one with the 40k one right here. In the chest area, see, I told you that the beard is an entity because it pours itself onto the chest region. Flanking the golden being are these two chains with wolf's teeth that perfectly accent the dark yellow of the beard. Underneath all that is a runic pattern that has been engraved into the armor, giving more depth and dimension. So in the torso area, nothing much to see here. It's just a formless gray mass. Now the formless gray mass gives way to a burst of flavor and action by the way of your typical large belt buckle right here with more engraved runes on it. There are golden designs right here that contrast perfectly with the dull gray. To add to the spice of this area, there is also wolf's fur down here that gives off a nice fuzzy feeling. Hugging the waist area is a red cord that has runes dangling off of it. Along with more textured wolf's fur, there is a highly texturized pouch with, surprise, a ton of shading to add to the depth of flavor. The cornucopia of excitement then ends with another highly detailed small pouch and a dry brushed crack grenade. The legs appear to be somewhat sort of like a miniature version of Russ's legs in that they have a ton of texture and have that terracing effect. The presence of the spice in the middle of the thigh, studs, as well as chains on the shin area make the normally lifeless legs stand out. The knees are also fantastic with the 6th Legion and the runes that are engraved in the armor. Now with the back and the cape area, the terracing is very prominent here. However, the true star of the back area is this cape, which blends in perfectly with the wolf's head on the pauldron. There is that same furry 3D effect that is beautiful and makes me want to pet it lovingly. The fur then gives away to what would look like to be a red cloth down here, very reminiscent of Ragnar's cape. And here is Ragnar's cape side by side with the Praetors. The inner lining is a rich red that contrasts well with the gray of the armor and boasts excellent shading in the recesses of the cape, but weirdly also on the higher parts of the cape. One critique is that the cape is a bit too loosely anchored by these 2 small points right here. I think you'll need to be careful or else you'll just rip this part off. Now this power axe is absolutely massive and seems to have a gravity of its own due to the size of it. In fact, the axe stands about as tall as the Marine himself. There's a great usage of the variety of colors. There is plenty of shading that can be seen in the golden areas, giving it more detail. And the handle of the axe is wrapped in the simple red cord, and the end of it has the same Viking prow-like icon. There is a brilliant use of texture on the shaft of the axe that is made to look like wood, and then the blade itself right here has a ton of battle damage on it. With regards to the bolt pistol, there is a lot of character in this short-range tool. There is a very unique chain with wolf's teeth that are dangling down that really makes this weapon stand out from the other tasteless plebeian bolt pistols that are seen, especially when compared to the Warhammer 40k counterparts. As a side note, this magazine can also be removed. Now this Mark III backpack looks rightfully archaic when compared to its more modern counterpart. However, this backpack I think has more character. There are these interesting hoses that are running to the fan that is smack dab in the center of the backpack. However, the true star of the show is the standard, which starts off with these 2 shiny golden axes that progresses down to the standard itself. The standard itself kind of looks like a dissected or ancient double Aquila, where you can see the 2 eagle heads and then the wings and the feet right here. Now this combat shield or storm shield, which is its modern day counterpart, is very ornate, very striking and unique looking. There's a prominent leather strap that runs across the face of the shield and across the back as well. There's also this interesting clasp area which allows you to unbutton the soft plastic, and this then allows you to put the handle of the shield in the hole. Once you remove this part, put the handle in right here, then you can clearly tell that this is a storm shield due to the nodes that are running on the back. There is also another configuration that allows you to attach the shield to the back of the Praetor right here, in which these grooves lock in perfectly with the grooves of the fan, which I believe is absolutely brilliant. And this is how you lock the shield to the back of the backpack. And finally, just like the power axe, there is the presence of battle damage, which gives this shield a more worn-in and battle-hardened look. So closing out this review, I will let you know if this Praetor is worth your hard-earned dollars. What praises can I sing about this Space Wolves Legion Praetor? There are many. So the first thing is I love the specialized MK3 armor. There are so many cool decorations as well as these little touches that make this armor just completely jump out. With the wolf on the right pauldron as well as the combination fur and cloth cape. And speaking of the back area, the way that the shield can be used either in the hand or connect to the back is just an absolute genius of engineering on JoyToy's part. I only have 2 tiny critiques of this action figure. One is that the movement about the head is a little bit restricted because of the long locks on the beard area and the flimsy way the cape is attached to the shoulders. Those are the only 2 things. So obviously if you are a Space Wolf Horus Heresy fan, this is going to be a centerpiece figure that you would want for your collection. And where should you buy this action figure? Well, there's only one place to buy it, and you already know it is at David Toys. So just click on the link in the description below, where you will be brought to the distinguished vendor. And before you check out, please do not forget to use the code SNS to receive 12% off of your purchase. Thank you, members of the chapter, by watching the video in its entirety. I appreciate your comments as well as your likes on these videos. They help this channel so much to grow bigger and better. And with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one.